Well, it appears that Venger Satanis is calling it quits with his publishing company. Still gonna game and stuff like that. But it's one of those things is like, if your stuff stops being successful or, you know, it can be a sad story. And I told him I feel for him. I'll go ahead and share my sad stories. Let's first of all start back in the, I would say, late 90s. It was since I saw some special on TV back in the 80s about LARPing. I had wanted to LARP since I was about, you know, early to middle teenager. Made some padded weapons, tried to get wrote some rules, and tried to get people together, but and the little power dynamics of our little group of nerds, if some of the people didn't come up with the idea, then it didn't happen. Even though, everybody wanted to fight with my padded weapons and stuff. So anyway, fast forward many years later, come to find out a few years before I got married, around 95, about 93, 94, there was a LARP group, about 75 to 150 people in the Lake Charles, or my area. I was amazed. I was like, holy crap, my dream come true. Unfortunately, the monarch was a monarch in name only, and her boyfriend, whatever he was also the webmaster. As soon as he saw there was someone there with some creativity and ideas, he went out of his way to destroy any chance of me getting into this LARP with, around 150 or so people. And like I said, I'd been dreaming of doing this since early childhood. And lo and behold, it was here. I also had always thought of an idea of doing a LARP park. So, making a long story short, lots of drama. As I was going to have an event on my acres in the woods that I own, the group switched to AmpGuard, which is a giant not-for-profit organization. And I can understand, it was me and my little set of rules and a dream, and then they had this giant organization with 5,000 people with events going on, and so I was trying to tell them, look, we've got enough people to buy some property and make our own park. And I almost went kind of crazy on this stuff because, as a few years after this event where I basically, lost the group to a not-for-profit, I found out about a group called Bicoline in Canada. They were doing the idea that I had. Of course, the internet wasn't that great. We didn't get high speed until about 5 or 10 years after everyone else, so I didn't get to watch any videos. I just watched websites of it. Come to find out that Bicoline is still going on to this day, and my LARP park idea would have worked because it worked with those. They even survived the pandemic and such, so amazing. Now, story number 2. Back to the dungeon RPG. Gee, somewhere around the dawn of the OSR, I saw the struggle and stories going on about Castles and Crusade and the foundations of Oshric and Basic Fantasy and stuff. And, my name's in some of those books, like Basic Fantasy. I helped kind of throw some ideas the guy's way. But while this was going on, I started writing what I called CFRP, Classic Fantasy Role Playing. Later on changed it to Back to the Dungeon role playing game, which was named after my blog. So anyway, years go by, and I just give the game away for quite a few years, and I end up finally, I think by 2016 or 15, I put it on Drive-Thru RPG. Of course, anyone that's had dealings with them trying to get a book in publishable form is I mean, I could say there's a lot of people that said, heck, I give up, By the way, Lulu, you can just go there and put your PDF, put a cover together, and bam, you're done, by the way, if you ever are interested in publishing your own stuff or printing your own stuff. So anyway, here in the local area, our gaming scene was horrible. 5th edition finally came out and was doing basically what my Back to the Dungeon game was doing at a much simpler level. But the organized play and such was, there was a Nimrod running it and nobody wanted to play with the guy. I mean, he literally would put his hands on people and stuff and scare them. He was very intense. So anyway, I started to gather all the dungeon masters I knew, all the game masters I knew. And I said, look, these rules, super simple. Let's do organized play. And most of these were old gamers, so what do old gamers do? Hey, I want to use an obscure version of a French role-playing game written on toilet paper, and I said, no, listen, we need to have a unified setting. We're all going to use the same map. This is how we need to organize this. So basically every game master that I got, one wanted I'm only playing 2nd edition. I'm like, no one's playing that, or one guy wanted to play, I don't even know what the game was called. And I'm like, listen, this is a simplified, unified system. So let's use just this, okay? And so played Back to the Dungeon for quite a few years until my job and schedule just basically raped and destroyed my entire freaking life. And I had no free time for anything. So eventually my Back to the Dungeon game folded. And as I still tried to work on it, because one thing about my job, I had a lot of ass time. I could write. I could, I had access to computers and printers and stuff like that. And on the night shift, as long as my people were behaving, I could do a lot of what I wanted. So I wrote an immense amount of Back to the Dungeon, working turnarounds at the plants at night. So, but eventually, you just get tired of trying to, you get tired of running it, and you're like, hey, can someone else run this? And then of course the stupid, or not stupid, but I prefer to run this version, and I'm like, literally that version of whatever fantasy game takes 20 minutes to make a character. This is a few minutes, What? Look, the plan is to use mine. We're going to organize, and I'm going to make you a part of it. But so finally, I shelved it. We started playing 5e, and then just recently, in the last, especially during the OGL scandal and stuff, I said, well, maybe there is a place for my game out there. It's really, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it so people can have a simple, fast set of rules. It's old school with a unified D20 mechanic, and just fun as hell to play is what my plan is, and fun as hell to run. But anyway, back to Venger. I have thrown him some little tidbits of advice, like maybe create some small zines and stuff like that. Maybe, don't give up totally. He's got lots of talent. Just don't give up. Anyway, I'm rambling with my ADD self. Eldred Wolfsbane, please like and subscribe. Over and out.